Greetings and welcome back to room 303 in our chats with Emily, as we are calling our readings through the poetry of Emily Dickinson in the Johnson edition. We turned down to poem 590. Did you ever stand in a cavern's mouth? Now, this is in many ways back to Emily's views on terror, on fear, on loneliness. Our assumptions that you've been following our stuff at learnstrong.net, down that left-hand side, Chats with Emily's our playlist. I'm hopeful that you've worked through our set of introductory comments. I'm hopeful that you've already been reading with us the previous 589 poems. We just finished with 589, The Night Was Wide. Now, we got two views on terror here. We've got an unknown cave, and we've got an unknown death, which will be significant, given, of course, Emily writes this poem during the middle of the horrors of the American Civil War. By the way, note the personal referencing here. Did you, and again, one more reason why we called our series Chats with Emily, did you ever stand in a cavern's mouth, wits out of the sun, and look and shudder and block your breath and deem to be alone in such a place? What horror, how goblin it would be, and fly as 'twere pursuing you. Then loneliness looks so. Did you ever look at a cannon's face, between whose yellow eye and yours the judgment intervened, the question of to die, extemporizing in your ear as cool as satyrs' drums? If you remember and were saved, it's like her, so it seems. Now, notice she directly asks you two simple questions. Hey, have you ever stood in the mouth of a cave and looked back into that cave, walked in there several steps? Now, of course, is she channeling Plato's cave allegory of Republic 7? Very possibly, right? By the way, do you notice that in this poem there's no question marks until the very end of the question? Do you see it? So I'm hopeful that you circled the question mark of this poem to just see where it lands. She says, did you ever stand in a cave, back away from the sun, in the darkness, in other words? You look, you shudder, you block your breath. By the way, see the trinities, the threes. You deem what it's like to be alone. So we'll go from alone to loneliness. In such a place, what horror. It's scary to be by yourself. Notice how goblin it would be. You'll remember goblin from 419, 511, 512, and we'll see it again in 646. How goblin it would be. And then, of course, you turn, you run, you fly, as 'twere pursuing you. In other words, it's like the goblin is running after you. If you've ever had that experience, then loneliness looks so. In other words, that's what it looks like, right? Notice again, the idea of looking we'll come back to at the very end of the poem, right? With look so and it seems. Did you ever look in a cannon's face? Whoa, notice this one, right? That is to say, in the battle. And between whose yellow eye, the exploding of the cannon, and yours, the judgment intervened, whether you're going to live or die. The question of to die, and of course some of you will go, oh, well, she's channeling Hamlet in Act 3, to be or not to be. That is the question, whether 'tis nobler, right, to suffer the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune, to take arms against the sea of troubles, and by opposing in them. What does he say? To die, to sleep perchance to dream. Oh, there's the rub. In other words, when you're in the middle of the battle, and it occurs to you, this is the moment I die. She says, extemporizing in your ear. In other words, you're thinking, is this the moment I die? As cool as satyrs' dreams. By the way, the margin note for Emily, one variant of cool was distinct. As cool as satyrs' dreams. You'll remember satyrs from poem number 9, the satyrs' fingers beckoned. Dreams. In other words, notice we go from goblins to satyrs, demonic, right? And again, obviously, we're back to Dante and the Divine Commedia and Inferno, right? If you remember, in other words, you made it through the experience, and you can remember that you came that close to death. Of course, being saved by whom is the question. Satyrs' drums makes us immediately think of Emily's contemporary Walt Whitman in Drum Taps. We gave full lectures at learnstrong.net. We call that series Talks with Walt, when we did all of those poems. It's like her, so it seems. By the way, like her is only used one time in her poetry, and it's here. This, it seems, we saw in 509, we'll see again in 635 and 718 and 892, in 1424 and in 1664. She likes this phraseology of it seems. What is the point here? We all got to look into the cannon's face and the fire of the cannon. We all got to look into the cave. It is the nature of life. that there is terror and there are horrors that we have to come to deal with. At 2B, the personal you of this poem, and the 3 U's I think matter. At 3A, drum taps we mentioned, obviously, Hamlet's to be or not to be. The readiness is all, remember that he says in Act 5, when he says we defy augury. Finally, in 3B, to own a poem like this, what is the cave that you have stood at? We think as well as Forster's Passage to India, the classic novel, Rodowian Caves. Thank you.